Ah, jeez, he's doing another movie review. I don't even know if I want to pay attention. Hey, what's going on over there? Nothing. All right, let's talk about this movie about dogs, because that's what you all are interested in.
What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to video number 4 on the day. A lot of things dropped this weekend, and today's film is The Art of Racing in the Rain. We're going to talk about it. I need your comments down below. Did you enjoy this movie? And let's do it. So through his bond with his owner, aspiring Formula One race car driver Denny, Golden Retriever Enzo learns that the techniques needed on the racetrack can also be used to successfully navigate the journey of life. Now, just in case if you guys don't know, or if you're newer to this channel, there have been 2 movies in this vein that have come out earlier on in the year. The first movie wasn't the biggest fan of. The second movie was better, but I was still like, okay, there are things lacking, things missing. This film started out on a very strong note, and I was excited to see what this premise was going to carry because it felt more down to earth at that moment, and the voice of Kevin Costner really is the standout in this movie. Well, the voice of Kevin Costner, along with who he was voicing, the dog, and I know there were different dogs playing the same character, but the best actors in the movie all have to go to these dogs. I mean, my goodness, incredible, incredible work. Everyone involved with this movie, training them and getting them to where they need to be. Out of all 3 of The Dog's Purpose, The Dog's Journey, those types of movies, this is the most realistic, and it is based on a beloved book from, I believe, 2008, and I know people that love this book with everything in them, and I don't blame you. Listen, I recently adopted, my wife and I adopted a dog, 9 years old. You just saw him. His name's Buddy. He is the best thing in the world, and I love him, and I love dogs in general, and I love seeing a good showcase of humans' affection for dog on the big screen without all of the cheesy elements and the poor acting. And we'll get into that here in just a bit. But the story as a whole, for what it was going for, kind of highlighting through these individuals' lives, telling it through the dog's perspective. When the movie was doing that and we were getting the voiceover from Kevin Costner, that's when it worked. It didn't just work at that point. I'm sitting back going, I wish every movie in this nature would do what it's doing right now, where the film begins to lose its footing. And I know I'm about to go down that territory that I continue to go down with these movies. Everybody's like, Austin, stop judging it so hard. It's a helpless dog movie. We love dogs, so we love this movie. Listen, if you love this film and you felt moved by it, I take nothing away from that. My aspiring job is to be a critic, one who looks at every aspect and the structure of the movie as a whole. And if we're looking at that aspect of this movie, the emotional impact is there. Certain characters and their situations, they work extremely well. When it comes to how we have to care so much about the main human characters, just as much as we do the dog, I cared about the dog. I didn't necessarily care about them. And then we get into the technical aspects of the movie, and I'll just skim over this because people don't seem to care as much, but from a filmmaking standpoint, it's not the best. There's nothing that stands out about the cinematography. It looks kind of bland. The music, you expected the music that played to play, and then the story itself, while it's cute and it's nice and tragic things happen, tragic things that, one, caught me off guard because I, for one, I'm not as familiar with the story as everyone else is, so I was like, oh, we're going down that route. Okay. But then the movie starts to shift focus from the dog and the dog's story to the human story and what happens in the aftermath of a certain event in this movie. And I don't want to give that event away because I know some people are unfamiliar with the story, so I don't want to spoil the turning point of this film. But once that happened and we went like on a 5 to 10 minute span without getting any Kevin Costner voiceover, that's when I kind of took a step back and saw this movie for what it was underneath the shell of being told by the dog's point of view. It really is, it's kind of a Lifetime movie with a very cliche and conventional plot, dialogue that's just, it's not good at all. There's a point in the movie where Denny, he's kind of meeting Eve for the first time and introducing her to Enzo, and he's like, so what are you, a chef or something? And then from then on, we get like a highlight reel of how they fall in love and all of these different aspects of that story. I'm like, whoa, slow down. Give me a little bit of dialogue. Give me a conversation or two that feels real instead of these shoehorned one-liners, and the delivery on that dialogue, it's not the best. Amanda Seyfried, she's in this movie, and she's great, as she is always great. Milo Ventimiglia's in this movie, and I know he has his fans. I know he does, but just certain certain elements of that performance didn't, I don't think, work as well as it intended. Didn't captivate me like what I think they were going for. That's what I'll say. And there were just certain characters in this movie that were so far over the top, from not talking to the dog the way that a normal human being would talk to a dog, and that is, hey, how you doing? What's up, little boy? And not, get over here, you dumb dog. Hello, dog. I love you, dog. And it started to become extremely melodramatic. It felt like a rom-com at the beginning, and then it went into complete drama territory, like the cheesy drama territory, and it felt like every time they tried to be serious. Listen, I'm not going to deny the fact that there are serious things that happen in this movie, serious things that will break your heart, and if you sit down and think about what's actually happening, it is a story that could happen to anyone, but it's the way they go about executing those scenes. I know it's based on a book, and all of the dialogue that Kevin Costner had to read for the dog, that was great. There were reoccurring jokes. There were things that he said that came back into play later on in the movie, and getting things from his perspective, they were great. And I loved every single time the dog was on screen and he was at the forefront. That's what I loved, when they focused on the human story, which they didn't do at the beginning as much. I'm like, I love this. This is great. Give me 2 hours of this movie. And then it became a melodrama, and then it started to feel more like a Lifetime movie, and we continue to get those one-liners and the really cheesy moments. There's one moment where a character is supposed to be attacked by another character, and he flies into something, and I know it was supposed to look fake, but at least make it a bit more realistic than it ended up being. The guy actually got injured in the scene, and I don't know if it was the directing, the acting, what happened there, but I'm like, we just went full spoof territory, and this is kind of ridiculous. And another decision I was just a bit baffled by is he's supposed to be this race car driver, and every time we actually see him race a car when no one else is on the track, he's awesome. And the guy even says, everybody pay attention, because this is some of the best racing you're ever going to see. And then he comes home, and it felt like every time he came home, he either didn't get the place that he wanted to get, or he lost the race. And I'm like, I want to see him race. We really never got to see that. And once again, I know I'm the bad guy here. I know I'm reading way too much into this. This is a crowd-pleasing movie, and a lot of people are going to thoroughly enjoy it and overlook its extremely obvious flaws, and that really is the power of what dogs can do, man. That's a power of a story like this, a story that will break your heart in many different facets, and one that got me emotional and left me emotional at the end, because I came home to my dog and I'm like, wow, I respect the story like this way more than I did when I watched the first dog-centric movie earlier in the year, because now I have a dog of my own and I know what it means to have someone at your side, a best friend, and the way this film ended, I'm like, yeah, what a terrific, terrific ending. So I can't sit back and say this is a bad movie. I'm not going to say it's a well-structured film, but it's a crowd pleaser. It does what it has to do. It will absolutely appease dog lovers, and it did just enough for me to get slightly over the halfway mark. I'm going to go 54% for The Art of Racing in the Rain. This movie is absolutely fine. There is a charm to it that I think a lot of people will walk out with a smile on their face. I just couldn't get past the narrative problems, the script problems, story problems, all of those things. But yeah, if you love dogs, I definitely recommend at least giving this a try in the theater. Thank you so much for watching this video. Tomorrow morning, my review for The Kitchen, followed by my review for The Farewell, and then Sunday, more things to come on this channel. Thank you so much once again for watching, and I'll see you very soon.